Alright, on this episode we are going to address the topic of accountability.
Yes. A lot of times people talk about accountability with like having accountability partners, keeping each other like on task for something, if it's a personal, professional goal, or a lot of times physical workout partners and stuff. We're going to talk about it from a little different point of view, and talking about emotional accountability and on a personal level, i.e. being accountable for our own feelings and ourselves. And so this is a little bit different. And part of what goes into that is a lot of self-awareness and usually some healing work, because to be truly accountable for like oneself and one's emotions and in a relationship, we have to be, aware of like, our past patterns, our childhood traumas, things that, maybe baggage we have from other relationships where we got used to things being a certain way, and we don't realize, or we don't remember. We have trauma from that, and from that aspect of things. Or just like I said, a lot of our personal patterns. For me, I had some situations in childhood that like made me really fear conflict. Early when I was younger in my relationships, I used to avoid conflict like the plague, like just like like just that, we're just having to deal with it, like, and but you can't grow that way, and you definitely can't have a conscious partnership in that without like being able to express yourself and accept the expression of your partner. You have to be able to freely share and accept what is being shared. I always say that I remind myself first and foremost that we see things through the veil of our own perception. So when someone's saying something to me, I really try to remember, especially if I have a reaction to it, especially if I'm triggered. I try not to be triggered. But if someone says something to me and I have a reaction to it, like at first, especially a strong emotional reaction to it, I'm like, well, what is that there? What, and that's what I do, and I see where my actions contributed. I do this like every video. Contributed to that, and just again owning myself and owning my part, and also not taking things personally, not projecting how I feel onto any given situation, hearing what the other person feels, and let's say Frankie's like, you hurt my feelings, like you upset me, even if I feel like, well, no, I didn't. Like even if I feel that way, it's still being kind, being sensitive, actively listening and trying to understand why he feels the way that he feels as well. So it's a very two-way street. But the first direction is owning your shit and recognizing the things you overreact to. Most of us have tendencies to overreact to certain things more than others, and this is with everybody. It's not just about romantic partnerships. We're wanting to improve all of our relationships and show up fully and present and compassionate and loving, as loving as we can. And to do that, we can't be taking stuff personally. We can't be projecting our stuff on other people. And when we do, we just say, oops, my bad, I did that. So let me tell y'all last time I remember I did it. So Frankie went to tell me a story, and it was about somebody that I love everyone unconditionally, y'all, but I'm not fond of everybody's, in their ways. So it was one of those people in that category. And he went to tell me, one thing is I try very much not to be judgmental. And my perception of what I know about this person is that, they are kind of judgmental. And so at the beginning of his story, he set his story up like he was going to tell me that they were being just like I know them to be, their judgy selves. Blah. So he's like, starts, and I'm just like, ugh, that person. Like, right away. And he continued, even though I did that, but he continued. And as soon as I saw that, I reacted. I don't know. I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. Like, I was wrong. Like, the story, I was like, it was partially the way you led, but also because I have this this bias about this person, you know, like I'm not their number one fan. Like if you said that about like, you know, like any other people in your life that I adore, like I was like, that's just such and such. But, you know, it wasn't that person. So I was like, and you know, but again, accountability, easy. Like you just do it. You see that and you recognize things like that, you know. That's a little cute version, but like it's one that doesn't make me look too horrific. But I'm sure there are much worse ones. But yeah, like, and one big thing I recognize, I always feel like we tend to get the most trigger in the things that we haven't healed or like dealt with in ourselves, or like that are still a big deal for ourselves. So when we're really harsh or critical with ourselves, being a really harsh inner critic, because maybe that's what happened in our childhood, maybe that's what we experienced in our life, whatever the reasons are. When we're trying to work through that, as we're working through that, or until we fully work through that, we're going to have the tendency to do that same thing to, you know, other people. So just be aware of those things. And when you catch yourself doing it, especially in your close friendships and partnerships or in anything, just own it and say, you know, hey, I didn't, you know, that wasn't my intention, or, you know, whatever. And if you have an emotional reaction to something, again, like it's not to say that you're, you know, emotions are bad or your feelings aren't valid. And sometimes you need to have and I don't even try to enable emotions as negative thought. They just are, you know, they're, you know, and we really try to like not as much as we can. Of course we do. Like sometimes use the like, you know, you hurt my feel like not that directional, not it's like, hey, I feel this way, you know what I mean? Because again, it's my feelings. Like it wasn't your actions, even if your actions, my feelings are, you know, revolved around something that had to do with your actions, they're still my feelings. And that's a big part of, I think, being responsible and like, you know, showing up in your relationships in a way that allows for like personal and like growth as an individual and as growth is, you know, as a pair of friends or whatever. Would you like to
add? Yeah, accountability is also a good, as far as your character brings you a lot of humility and humbleness kind of go hand in hand. We always usually argue because we think we're right or we see things from our perspective, and we often don't stop to think that we could be wrong, because that's why we're arguing. We think our way is right, our way is, you know, we're so interested and experience everything from our way that we forget about other people's perspective. So, you know, when you hold yourself accountable, you're showing like you're fallible, and
that's true.
You're inviting people to forgive you too, and you're more likely to get forgiveness when you're accountable. When you can be like, you know, most of the time when we have to be accountable, it's not because we had any ill intention, right, or it's usually a human element. Either we got heated up because we were hurt in some way, which often causes anger, which causes us to act in a way that we end up having to hold ourselves accountable for. And people understand that. You know, we all experience that. People are usually pretty understanding of those things. And, you know, when you can show people that you can be responsible for your actions, it helps other people heal as well by allowing them to create their own good karma and forgive you. Yeah. That's pretty much all, you know, I have to add to that. It's about all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I guess another part of accountability, our first video we did was about boundaries. And so the way accountability adds in there is, clearly expressing your boundaries to your partners and your friends. And this gets tricky in relationships that have been existing. You know, like it's one thing to learn these skills and take them into your relationships going forward, but like, you know, when you're trying to do it like ma and pa, you know, and like, you know, your elementary school friends or your coworker that's gotten your nerves for the last 7 years, you know, whatever, it's harder. And but it's possible. So you know, you kind of, like I said, I like to just, even, I mean, with my great old friendships, I haven't had to do this, but like with some friendships, I had to go back in and say like, listen, like this is like how I, you know, this is how I show up. This is how I would like my friends to show up, you know, like, and everyone can't do that, and that's okay. Like, everybody's not meant to be in close relationships with each other, right? Like, but there's nothing wrong with telling people what you want, and there's no other way to receive what you want, and than to tell people what you want. And you can't hold someone accountable to something that you haven't, an expectation or something that you want that you haven't expressed to them. And that's a big thing. A lot of times people will say, well, they shouldn't. And I was like, well, did you tell them that you felt that way? Crickets. No. Because, like, we don't communicate. And, like, we have to communicate. Like, because something that is, I'm pretty, like, laissez-faire with it. Like, so, outside of, like, mutual respect and, like, the basic human dignity stuff, I don't really have a lot of, like, boundaries to outline, because I only form friendships with people who I trust to own their and handle their own shit. So I'm not, if I feel like I have to, like, hold your hand or babysit you through the world, we're probably not going to be besties. But, like, at the same time, you can, if you want someone to, you have to tell people, like, what your boundaries are, because we're all different. And, like, I might not have as many, but the ones that I have are the ones that are for me. And things are fluid. Things change, And there might be some people I do feel like I have to explain, be clearer about it too. Like, whatever. It's just important to do that, communicate it, and so you can go from there. So, like I said, it could be because we get disappointment, and then we get resentment when people don't show up the way that we want them to, would like them to, but often we haven't told them or asked them to, like, and that's like, it's like setting each other up for failure there. You want to own any of your times, or you say no? I'm kidding. That's it. Unless Ricky has something else to say other than, like, that. Okay, cool. All right, we'll see you guys next time.